Seems like our lives get so full. I have a lot going on in my life right now. All these things I need to do and projects I need to do. If I get too wrapped up in all that I have to do, and it just kind of takes over. So how do you handle that and stay present, stay in your loving? One of the things I like to do is in the day just take little moments of peace. Just not do anything for a moment. Sometimes I'll watch something on television. Well, you got all these things to do. I see, but why create pressure? On the other hand, do I lose sight of what I'm doing? Not really, because there is this depth to us. We can just lay back and appreciate it. There's in our dimensional nature, we're handling the whole thing. At some level, we're participating in everything. So how do we track that? Well, we track that by, well, we worked on this too, just presencing, being present. How do you just be present with it so that it can move, it can circulate through us. And so we stay present, stay vigilant, and that way we can stay in our loving. There's going to be greater and greater polarization, energy moving toward polarization. And that's where it's going to take a lot of people. And part of that is that everything's getting amplified, everything's getting quicker, everything's getting more filled with a new consciousness. Well, there's another way to do it. Whereas the energy increases, we go to our center. So what's the vigilance? Anything that starts to put you in opposition to yourself or someone else is suspect, because it's coming in and it's starting to polarize. See, it's like a test here. Can we take this planet and really work with it? Well then, as these situations arise where this polarization comes up, what is our response to it? Like, can I hold for some place like Syria, and it's going through this, well, really a civil war now. And we went through a civil war, and it was very hard on us. A lot of people lost their land and suffered, and we didn't have the same kind of weapons we have now, but we could still kill a lot of people. And we got through that. But people got so in their positions, they couldn't see a way to do it. So we see, as people lose their fear of repression and even being killed, and they're going to stand up anyway. And there's that energy picks up, and more people join and choose sides, and it's like this is the time, and they go live out their karma in this battle with each other. And so here we are, and looking at that, and wondering if it's ever gonna, if anything's ever gonna come of that. I know when I was in the civil rights movement in the '60s, I got way burnt out, just investing out there in change, and idealism didn't take care of myself, nor did I have the anchor inside of me. So I got kind of cynical. So on the one hand, I got cynical. On the other hand, I had these great human encounters and that changed me, that opened my heart, that gave me perspective into how other people live and how they see things, and how you look at the world through their eyes. Whether it's some county clerk that's going to resist registering people, he just sees things a certain way and thinks it's right. See, and do you judge that? Well, you can judge the behavior, but that's a real human being. You can't lose sight of that human being. It's you know that when you keep having to kill people, it's going to do damage to you. So at some point, this has got to crack, because it is our nature to be loving. And so what do? Well, I don't know. You know, every day I get up and say, maybe this is the day when we reach the tipping point, when we reach the 10% of awake, conscious people. So the planet's going to change. And of course, it doesn't. Like, it's this evening already, and you know, it's just getting more, and it's going to get more. But this is an opportunity, you see. If we can learn how to not fall for what we think is good and what we think is bad. We can learn not to fall with I like this and don't like that. Well, sometimes it's reversed. It's like the thing that looks good and we get into turns out bad, and the thing that looks bad we get into turns out good. See, so we just got to take it and work it. Well, if we work it in terms of engaging, changing perspective, engaging, at the same time practicing, where's my wholeness? Where's my loving? See, so we have a triangle going. It's we play the triangle. What's that mean? Well, nothing's defining us that we're doing. See, we're just engaging and doing and responding and doing our part and participating. We don't put our self-esteem on the line. We don't put our pride of ourselves, our gratification. We don't put any of that on the line, because we just stay in the loving. And so in that way, we're always responding. We always know the response. You know, everybody's right in the middle of their, scenario paper, and they're having a look at their personal scenario. And we did talk some about that, about the purpose of that, and that you master yourself. And you're going to have all you need to work on anything, to participate, to know how to participate with people, to keep your vision straight, to have the discipline you need, to be able to soothe yourself, and to be able to reconfigure yourself each day. See, each day is different. So if you try to be the self you were yesterday to meet the new day, you're going to get confused, because the day has changed. The vibration of the new day, the configuration of the new day is different. So it's going to take slightly different responses. It's going to require you to be present in slightly different ways. See, if you start, building up, you just hate this thing coming up. You get an idea that, here comes that same old situation again, where my kid's screaming, or they're not behaving, or, see, you start bracing yourself for it, and that just starts agitating for it. People react and people call out because they have real something going on. They may not be right. They may be acting out of illusion. They may have something get a hold of them that's making them be adversarial or be mean, but they're doing their best. And so what is the range of responses that you have? Well, that's good to have a range of responses, whatever it is. How you are in relationship to yourself is going to be the key. Gosh. I was trying to think of the last time I reacted. Every year I usually have one reaction about something. But I've been noticing lately I don't react much. And I'm kind of excited about that, because it means the edges are gone. It means this, some idea I had about myself, and what my life would be, and who I would be, and what that would look like. It's like, it's not judged inside of me by myself, so I don't get the same polarization back, or if I do, it's like I can pause. Um, I would always notice that, oh, the next day or even 10 minutes, I would, oh, why didn't I say that? See? Well, so I must, either I didn't say something or I said something that was, defending my ego or cute or didn't really go deep. So, if I could just hold with myself a little longer and stay a little more conscious and wait. It may seem like an eternity. It's like, if I can just wait and not respond and look at things and see what's going on. And say, well, what is it exactly that's happening here? And even deconstruct a little more, just let go a little more about my habituated way to know what's happening or the need to know what's happening. Like if you're a parent, you think you ought to know what's happening and you ought to be able to respond in a way that makes things great and have the answer and have the easy solution. Sometimes it's because you just have to take a wholly different perspective. See, we all want to be, the best parent, the best consciousness. It takes a long time to be a good parent. I'm still working on it with myself. It turns out my children took care of them, kind of raised themselves, and now I see the result that by me just being true to what I was, as screwed up as I was, they're working it out. See, I remember there was a time when the boys would just the two older boys, and they were young, like 3, 4, maybe 5. They'd go into this, just start crying and cry and cry and cry. And I'd talk to them and love them and what's wrong, and they couldn't tell me, and just cry. And you hold them, it didn't work, and they just keep crying. And so I just have to let go and just keep loving. God bless you, love you. And then they just stop. And they wouldn't know what that was about. But there was just some deep anguish in there. In retrospect, it was kind of a foreshadowing, indication of a journey that they would go on, that they would have to resolve themselves, that they'd have to go out on their quest and explore and discover and find out what it was that connected them with themselves. And gosh, it took them a while. They're around 30 now, but they're doing it. Someplace in that Saturn return, they caught a sense of themselves. And I think about that and say, I still don't know what that depth of anguish, but I think there's something about, as souls here on this planet, we come and it's just so big and it's just so important and it's so deep. And we feel that depth of despair, that depth of here we are in this world and we have to face this thing. We have to engage it and be accountable. Yeah, both the mental being accountable. Now they're just real good at it. Well, one more than the other, but that's okay. They know accountability. They're like, oh, I have to do this. I have to take charge of my life. You see,